Now, what happens after that, after you have the demo meetings? For that purpose, for that topic, we have distinguished Toastmaster Swarna, the current District AT Director. DTM Swarna is a Toastmaster and leader who believes that the best gift anyone can give is you build clubs that will help many more people to benefit from this platform, because she herself has learned and grown in the last 7 years. Professionally, she is a financial advisor for 20 years and also a cross-cultural consultant and agile coach. For her contribution in Toastmasters, as a division director, she has helped to charter 3 clubs, and as a club growth director, she helped to charter 17 clubs. So without further ado, let us all invite DTM Swarna onto the stage to share with us what to do after the demo meetings. Over to you, DTM Swarna.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster of the Day. And thank you to District 102 to have this wonderful tri-district event. Pleasure to be with all of you here. We heard PDD Shri share his ideas on how to find that lead. And then we heard IPDD CY share on how to do a beautiful demo meeting. Now comes the last part of that loop, and that is how to charter or submit the paperwork for that to happen, to make it seamless. If you remember in the beginning, our BD just mentioned, CP mentioned, the challenge is time zone. We are almost 12 hours or 13 hours behind ahead of US. So we have to take that into account. So the first is, please remember, if you want to charter clubs, you have to keep in mind that there is going to be a delay in how response comes from TI. And the officers in TI who handle new clubs are handling 140 plus districts. So they are getting mails from everyone. So they go by the queue system. So we have to keep that in mind. Okay, so that's the number one thing. Number two is that we make all the efforts to see that our forms are correct, because you do not want to go back to that loop of queue again and again and again. The common thing that happens, at least in this part of the world, at least in District 80, we lost 2 clubs last term because the corporate did not want to wait. We made error in the first place, then we redid it, and by the time our chance came to review, the corporate lost their interest. So friends, doing something right the first time is the best way to do a chartering paper. So let me share with you this link that I use. There are many ways of doing this, but for me, this is how I do when someone says, let's do the paperwork. So let me share with you. I use the Toastmasters dashboard, the Toastmasters website, to share. Give me a minute. Let me share on the chat your link as well. When I share, I can't find the chat now. Okay, organizing chair, can I just share with you the link so you can put it on the chat?
Yes, sure. Yes, sure.
Okay, so this is what I start off with. This is a link here, toastmasters.org, start a club. And when you come to this, there is a step-by-step on what you do. Connect with your nearby leader. That is the best part of doing it. Contact your club growth director, because that is how the lead can go move faster. You have a lead, contact the club growth director, and the club growth director will help you go through the process. So that's the first thing. So if anybody has a lead and does not know what to do, come here, contact your nearby leader. Okay, whichever district, it will go in there. Then we heard about the recruitment of the power from both the earlier speakers and now coming to the completing the paperwork. Now, if you see here, there is only one application that is there here, meaning that you submit your intention to charter a club. You can give a club name or you can get a club number. But what I prefer to do is I like to go to how to build a club. So when you click here, what happens is it takes you here. This is a manual, okay, or a booklet by Toastmasters on how to build a club. Okay, so step-by-step guide, and this is what we have shared today, right? Based on our personal experience, you've heard all of us go through. And I like to go here. The reason being, friends, Toastmasters keeps changing things. And we all know, especially in recent times, from $45 to $60. Then the format of the forms change. So I find that instead of going and searching on the website or using already saved applications, I prefer to go here because this will take you, the last page will take you to the link of the most updated forms. So when I click here and say application to organize, it will take me to this page. So I click here. This is a clickable thing. It will take me here. It will take me to the resource, and according to the language, you can choose. So I choose here. This I know is the most updated application. I don't have to worry about whether the date is correct, whether it's a new one. You don't want to be submitting old forms. Okay, so when you click here, it will take here. This is form 1, where you say where you want. This is the intention to charter. You say which is the city you want to charter, which province, postal code, country code, and when do you want to start the club. Get the person to sign, okay, and you say who are the coordinators. Who's going to be the president or coordinator? In corporate clubs, most of the time I find the HR puts in their name as coordinator. Okay, in community clubs, you can put the so-called sponsor, or you can also put the president's name. If you feel that you already have the names of the exco, then you can put your president's name. So you put all these details. This forms, my friend, is you can actually type in. Okay, so you can, it is an editable PDF, so you can type in here, go down, put in your card numbers, and this is where is important, because this is how the category of your club becomes. So if you're looking at a government agency, you click here. If it is a college, you click here. If it's a community, and also we have language clubs. So which is the language that you want? And if the club has also a hybrid option, click here. Why is this important? Is because when someone goes and find my club or find a club, this will be reflected in the club's profile. And if it's an advanced club, I will come to that later. But if it is an advanced club, then you click here. Okay. Then you have, most new clubs will need 2 sponsors and 2 mentors. Why? Because we want to handhold the club to start off well. It's like, clubs will have teething problem, will have all the problems that, excos doesn't want to do their job. They don't understand what they want to do. So you need someone to handhold them for 3 to 6 months at least. Normally, I recommend that hold on for at least a year, because personally for me, clubs that were not handheld have died within a year. And when you see clubs dying within a year, is mainly because the sponsors and mentors did not do the hand-holding properly. And when that happens, you will find that the club is not able to sustain, especially student clubs and corporate clubs. Both of them need a lot of hand-holding. Student clubs, why? Because students keep changing. Exco keeps changing. They may graduate and go away, and new Exco has no clue on what to do. So you need a sponsor and a mentor who's willing to spend time with this club. As CY said, please be there. Presence is very important. Build that connection. Be there. They should know that if they have an issue, you are the person to contact. So that's important. And that's why these two roles also get credit for DTM. And it's an important way to get your DTM as well. Okay, then you also say what it is. This is Form 1. Okay, now let us go back to our manual. Okay, I go back to my last page and Form 2. Form 2 is charter papers. So the payment, how you're going to do is where you come. Again, different languages. Choose the language that you want to fill your form in. Okay, and we go into paper Form 2. Form 2 will say what is the name of the club. Okay, you will give the name, you will say who it is, which district, which area, which division you want to park it in. Okay, and here comes the details that to fill. Okay, so if it's a new charter, you need to put it in, and all this is editable. Yeah, so when you put 125, you will see that the answer is here. Okay, the reason why I'm getting an error is because it picked up something here. Okay, but if you download it and do, this error does not come. And then if you have new members, now if you are chartering a club, we need a minimum of 17 new members, and we can have up to 3 dual members, as we say. Okay, that means existing Toastmasters can join a club, new club, up to 3 members. So out of the 20 members that we need, we have to have 17 new members. Now, if it is an advanced club, then it's a reversal. You need to have 17 minimum advanced members. Okay, you can have 3 reinstated or new members, but it depends on what is the theme of the advanced club. If the advanced club is going to look at different aspects, maybe learn how to do keynote address, or maybe learn to do better evaluators, or it could also be like how to develop as leaders. So there are different themes that you can look at for advanced club, and depending on what that you can choose, but you need to have a minimum of 17 dual members. Now, who is a dual member? Dual member is someone who's already a member of a club and will pay for this club or membership as well. Transfer is not dual member. Okay, transfer, you can only have up to 3 transfers of the whole 20. Of course, if you have your 20 and you still want to have, you can have more transfer members, but in the 20, you can only have 3 transfer members. Okay, you can have 3 transfer members or 3 dual members. And reinstated members is an interesting thing. They are considered as new members if they are not a member at all, right? So reinstated means they were Toastmasters maybe 1 year ago, 5 years ago, 20 years ago, doesn't matter. But when they come back with the same membership number, then they are called as reinstated members, and they do not need to pay the new member fee. They only need to pay their membership number. Membership fees. Okay, so these are the details that you can fill in. Okay, and then you also, the total will be calculated. The reason why I see 1 here is because it's I'm doing it on the browser, and browser is picking up some number. If you download this, generally this error does not occur. Okay, and then automatically your total will be will be calculated. I particularly like this portion. Okay, if I'm talking to a corporate, sometimes, or even community clubs, student clubs, I ask them, would you like to pay for the full term? Meaning that you match your payment to go and match the Toastmasters cycle. So can I have on the chat anyone here What is our Toastmasters payment cycle? Anybody here? Toastmasters payment cycle. Okay. Payment cycle is April and October. Yeah, that's right. Thank you so much. April and October. So, for example, let's say you charter a club this month, okay, meaning February. And typically in this, they will take for $60 is for 6 months, remember. So it will be February, March, April, May, June, July, right? So you are paid for 6 months. But what happens in July? Okay, the club officers, the area directors, the division directors all have to follow up with this club to pay and match up for our cycle. So here at this stage during chartering, it's always good to ask, would you like to match up with our payment cycle? Which means that they need to pay for 2 more months, right? Or 3 more months. July means August, September, they need to pay for 2 more months. Would you like to match up? Then when you do that, you have to put the renewal here. So suppose they are paid for 6 months, 2 months need to be paid, you calculate and put that amount there. So if it's 20 members and we know that each month is $10, so 2 months is $20 extra. So 20 into 20 is $400. If it is started in March, then it will be $200. April, no issue because it's matching exactly our cycle, right? And then similarly, when you go to May, then you can ask them, do you want to pay up to another 5 months so that you match the cycle? So this is something that the sponsor can talk to the company. And most of the time, corporates may agree to it. Even schools may agree to it, mainly because they would have allocated that money. They will say, this is the money for this whole year of Toastmasters. When you do the budgeting with the clubs, you would have given them, you will say that, oh, this is the cost that we are going to be for you to charter this club. And so they would have already budgeted for that. So you can. In community clubs, I find that we always take for a year. In Singapore, we normally encourage to take for a year. Now, I'm not sure how it's done in Malaysia, but if you're collected for a year, then pay the fees for a year so that you know that the club doesn't have to go back into renewal or doesn't have to worry about renewal and things like that. Okay, so then you calculate this, come down here, sign, put in where you're going to be paying, and this is charter payments form 2. Okay, now let us go back to our book. And here, coming back, this is the charter membership application. Now, typically, I have seen that earlier when I was CGD, this is what I used to do. But now I find that TI accepts just submitting of this alone. Okay, so now what is Form 3? Form 3 is a regular membership application. Okay, so you can get this filled up and get it signed. This is like a regular charter membership fee. And if it is a corporate or a community or a whatever, you don't need to fill up these details because they may not be using individual card details. But to have all this in place is a good idea. Okay, so this is something that you can do. What we do here is we can capture this information on a Google form. Okay, we recommend our clubs, new charter clubs, to have a Google form to collect all this information so that we, in a way, we are getting consent. What Toastmasters International says is that at any point when we ask you for a membership application, you should be able to give. And any form of acknowledgement from the member is acceptable. So we use Google form. But if you want, we can do this as well. Okay, but what I prefer to do now, or I'm doing currently, we are doing is we go directly to the Excel sheet. Okay, let me click on this. Just 1 minute. I will stop share and go into my Excel because that is a download. So when I click here, it gets downloaded as a Excel sheet. Okay, so let me stop and reshare again. Okay, so all the information in the membership list is all here. Okay, if the person is already a member, if it's a new member, then you can say membership type. When I click here, you see the down here, there are options here. So new member, you click new member. If reinstated member, you say reinstated member, dual member, transfer member. So you indicate these details. If they're taking up a club role, then you indicate what is the club role. Okay, so if you are going to be president, you indicate it as president. If they're not, then you don't have to. You can leave that empty. Last name, first name. Okay, organization. If they belong to an organization, give them their address, state, country, postal code, email address, home number. These are our normal details that we have on our own login details, right? When we log in, these are all what we submit. Okay, and then membership, new membership. If there is a new member, then you add the new member. Okay, if no, then it's zero, right? If I'm not a new member, if I'm a reinstated member, dual member, I don't need, or transfer member, there's no new member fee. Okay, so you indicate it here, and then you say membership due 60 months. Okay, start when you want to start. If you start in February, then this is where I said prorated. You add the $20, okay, and then your total will show what you need to pay. If it is a new member, then the total will show as $100. Okay. What is very important to have is the new member fee and the membership due is very important to have. My recommendation is make it easier, simpler, so that follow-up later is not required, is to also add the prorated renewal. Okay, if you don't add, is also fine. Okay, but if you add, then it's easier for the next person to follow up. Okay, so then you don't need to give the details here. You can put it just on the application. Now, common mistake that happens in this particular form is this portion. Okay, can you see this here? Yeah, you can see annual and semi-annual. You need to indicate this. Most clubs are annual officers. Okay, some clubs have semi-annual. In our district, we have 2 clubs which are semi-annual. Okay, and they are the largest club in Singapore with about 150 members. So they feel that they need to give importance to, or opportunity to all of them to become a VPE or a SAA or whatever. So depending on the exco, so they go on a semi-annual basis. So they choose semi-annual, but most clubs have the annual here. And this is important to fill, because if TI while processing does not find this here, they will send back an email as a follow-up. Can you please confirm? And as I said, friends, we will go back to the back of the queue every time there's a follow-up. Okay, so please remember that we want to do our paperwork good the first time. Let me stop share here and go back to my. At any point you have doubts, please let me know. I can't see anybody when I'm sharing. Okay, going back to our booklet. Coming to the 4th form, which is Charter Club Officers form. Okay, so when you click here, again, you will see different languages. You click here, come to form number 4. Okay, here you will indicate who is going to be what is their role. Okay, if the new club, a new member, you don't have the detail, but if they are a reinstated member or dual member, you will have their membership number. Okay, so you can indicate that and get the form signed. Okay, I will talk about signing forms in a while. Again here, friends, please indicate this. Very important. Okay, and club number, if you already have one, but I normally don't go for a club number in the first place. We do it together, so that is easier and faster. And then we only indicate the district here. Okay, so this is how we do it. But if you have already a club number, you can indicate the club number there. And so that you know for which club this officer list is submitted. This can also be used, this form can also be used to reinstate or change, reinstate clubs. Okay, that's the reason why club number is also there, meaning that sometimes clubs do not pay on time. Your AD or a division director would have followed up, and then you want to reinstate the club back. And at that point, TI will say, we want to have a club officers list. Okay, so when you do that, this form is useful to submit. So when you submit this, this can also be used to reinstate a club and indicate who the club officers are. Form number 5 is club information. Okay, this information is what will be found in find the club. Okay, so when you view this, these are details. What's the name of the club? What's the club number if you already have? If not, district. Then club phone number, contact information, when do they meet? All this is important. So if you miss these things, again, I find that there is a follow-up email. Okay, so you need to indicate whether it's a weekly meeting, whether it's first and second, or when is the meeting going to be happening, where is the facility, what is the address. All this information is what you will find in your when you Google for your club. Okay, that means find a club will have this information, whether it's a community, whether it's sponsored, is the organization paying for the dues, or they are not paying for the dues and they're just giving the facility, what language it is online attendance acceptable. Okay, and if it is open to all interested persons or only corporates, when you are corporates, you cannot click on this because most of the corporates are open only to their employees. Okay, and then if it is an advanced club, then you indicate here. Okay, and open only to members of a specific organization. This is very effective for corporates or even schools, right? When you go to colleges, college clubs are open only to their own college students, or organized corporates are open only to the corporate members. Okay, and give all these details. Okay, and then get it signed. Now, in all these forms, you have signatures. Okay, I will finish the last two forms before I go into who should sign. Okay, so we go to the club constitution, form 6A. When you click here, this page is slightly confusing. When the landing page is slightly confusing, I find that the English version is on the second page. Okay, so you have two forms here, 6A and 6B, which are the English version. The others are all different languages. So you can see all the languages that are there. Okay, so depending on which language you want to submit your forms. Now 6A is the club constitution. So you have this here. Okay, then here clearly this form says who should sign. So there are two people who has to sign. One is the club president and the club secretary. So it's very clear who should sign these two forms. Okay, so you have the details here and sign. And nothing much on the second page is basically club constitution given by TI based on our Roberts rule. So there's no discussion about, oh, whether I accept it, I don't accept it. This is the constitution of how Toastmasters Club works. Okay, so this is basically, that's why there is nothing else but just an agreeing here to say that I agree to the constitution. Okay. And then 6B is name of club. Okay. Then you give here details. You say whether there is no restriction, there is restriction. You see what is the membership fee like. Okay. Is it going to be, there's no club dues. Now, most of the clubs which do not have club dues, or they say, oh, self-pay, you just pay online, then you can click here and say there's no club dues collected. If there is club dues collected, then you indicate how much are you collecting. All this information is important for TI because one is we are a non-profit organization. We want to know what are you doing with the money collected and how are you using it. So that's the reason why they need to know what you're doing with the money collected. Okay, so all this information is self-explanatory, but if you do need, if someone is transferring, do you need to have a transfer fee? If it's a regular meeting, where it is held, what is the location, okay, and where, how often the club meetings happen. I find that this, in the last two applications that we submitted, this was ignored and this became like a follow-up question. Okay, they want to know how often the club executive committee meets. Okay, so this is important. Please remember to fill it up. Okay, and you see here it also has a drop-down menu on how you want to do. Okay, this, Robert, of course, we have no choice. We want to follow this, but sometimes some corporates may say, oh, we have our own constitution or we have our own rules, so we want to put. So normally, if that is there, then they can indicate what else are they following on top, of whatever that, meaning to say that my corporate will function on these rules. Okay, so that sort of a thing. So Toastmasters would like to know what your conditions are, especially for corporates. So these are the 7 forms actually. In this form, no signature required. 6B does not require signature. 6A requires signature from club president and club secretary. Form 5 requires a signature of any club officer. Okay, so you see here, it says club officer, anyone can sign. Okay, then here also you need a, there is a signature here. No, there's no signature here. In 4, there's no signature. In 3, if you're doing individual member form, then you need to get your member signed and it has to be verified by a club officer. As I said, friends, if you're chartering a new club, you can directly go to, of late, I have found that TI accepts the Excel sheet because everything is there on the Excel sheet. Okay, and then Charter 2, you have signature here, president, okay, and secretary. And whoever is the card holder. Most of the time, if you are using corporate clubs, then there may be a HR who's using the card, or they may be using telegraphic transfer. If it is telegraphic transfer, you need to indicate what is the mode of payment here. And Form 1, no signatures required, okay? But you need to fill in all the details. I forgot to mention here, this particular information is also very important, okay? That means when you're sending in Form 1, you need to say where it's going to be aligned. That means which district, which division, which area this club is going to be aligned with during chartering. So this is an important information. If missed, can cause a loop back to the whole process again. So this is my sharing. If you have any questions, I'm open to the questions now. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much, distinguished Toastmaster Swarna, for your sharing. We do have a couple of questions, so I'll quickly start off with the question in the Q&A box. So Mark has asked, in District 51, they are undergoing efforts to charter a Toastmasters club in Division W. This club is intended to be a community club at the Embassy Row. There are club sponsors and mentors. There is a confirmed venue sponsor, and furthermore, financial support for the club charter is there. However, there aren't enough charter members to charter. To address this, a major event is taking place in mid-April at the Business Association at Jalan Ampang, a seminar on English, communications, and technology, with the audience being professionals and entrepreneurs. What advice would you share to a club sponsor for such a club?
for a club that doesn't have 20 members, okay, the other panelists can chip in as well, or anybody else wants to chip in, please chip in as well. But I can say what we do here in District 80, if we are not able to have 20 members, okay, but we do want to conduct meetings to attract new members, what we do is we submit Form 1. Okay, we submit Form 1 so that we have a potential club, and we can do club meetings to attract new clubs. So we have meetings, we decide as a club when we want to do meetings, and we start doing meetings on the same day, same time, so that we can say this is going to be a club that will be chartered once we have the 20 members. Okay, so that is the process we follow here. If there's something else I would like to learn as well.
All right, thank you so much. If there's no one who's going to add on, maybe we can move on to the next question. So there's one in the chat box that says, question to Swarna. Does TI have a centralized repository for all chartering forms, Form 1 to Form 6A?
The repository is basically your website, okay? And I find that book as a repository. That's my way of going, because I find that even if the forms change, when I click on it, it takes me to the website where the form can be found. So that's how I use it, and I find it very useful, especially this term with so many changes on the forms. One is the change, there were some format changes. Second was the fees change. So I find that it takes me to the right link from that book. So that's the book that I normally keep as a reference, and I use that as a reference.
All right, thank you. Next, we have a question to Swarna as well. We do not have the manpower to handhold corporate clubs for more than 6 months because most of our mentors are also working during office hours. So how do we handhold them for 1 year?
Okay, this is something that is a common problem, not just to your district, but worldwide, right? That is a common problem. One is, most of the time people want to be a sponsor or a mentor because they can get a credit for their DTM, okay? But what I would suggest is that any district, we are not in dearth of members who are retired, who have the time, who are self-employed and have the time to go for an afternoon meeting. Just rope them in. This is our networking skills. This is how we build ourselves as a district as well. Because when you bring in I won't say the senior member, let's say there are some senior members in our district, and you tell them, would you like to help us as a mentor for this club? I'm sure if they will love it. Okay. Most of the time we don't ask. So try and ask for members who have the time. And as district officers, we may not know everything, but area directors will know. Okay, in this club, oh, they have about 4 or 5 members who are retired, who are very diligently attending meetings every week, because this is their pastime, right? They enjoy doing it, and they are members for 20 odd years, 10 odd years, and they're passionate about it, and they're willing to give. So rope in such people so that when you're not able to do, someone else steps in. That's my view.
All right.
Can I add something? Okay, so you mentioned that the members, mentors can only support the club for 6 months. So what we did in a particular club is to strengthen the club immediately. We organized a speech craft for all the members. Okay, there's additional cost in that because the corporate have to agree to that. So once you build the expertise, it's easier to support the club. So basically, you organize a speech craft right at the beginning for all the members.
All right, thank you so much, distinguished Toastmasters CY, as well as Swarna, for answering that question. Next, we also have one question from distinguished Toastmaster Robert Ram. To my understanding, is that we can have unlimited transfer members when chartering a new club. But Swarna mentioned that we only can have 3 transfer members. Can you please clarify on this? Thank you.
As far, I will give you a case. This is a real case in District 80. Okay, during COVID, we had an area director who was very keen to charter a club. She had a contact in in the community club, nearby, and she has a venue, and she started to do it. But sadly enough, she got a club number, and she started to have demo meetings. I won't call it demo meetings, but regular charter meetings, so that people can come in and learn and all that. So from 2021 to 2023, she managed to get her 20 members. Okay. And what happened was, some of the members who were joining in were not comfortable to say, okay, I'm not a member yet. I'm doing my project, but I'm not getting a credit. So what happened was, there was a club in the same division that was going to be, was not going to renew. So we spoke to the club, and we said, can we use your club as a platform to build these members, like get them in, right? So that they can also clock in their numbers. So as of now, we have 23 members. Now, this past AD wants to use her club to transfer everyone. And TI said, sorry, you cannot transfer 23 members. It is a cheating process. You cannot close one club to start another club. Okay. They say we need, depending on what your target is, whether it's an advanced club or a regular club. If it is regular club, we need 17 new members. After that, how many transfer members you have is fine. You can have any number of transfer members, but we need 17 new members. If it's an advanced club, we need 17 dual members. Then you can go and add whatever you want after that. That's my understanding. If you're able to do something else, I would be curious to know as well.
All right, thank you so much to our speaker for clarifying on that. Next, we have a question. Hi, Swarna, this is my question for you. For Form 2, if a club has not been charted, how do we get the club number? Is it possible to share the related page or TI dashboard?
Okay. This is start a club page, yeah? I think the link is shared in the chat. Okay, you see here, complete paperwork and download this form. Okay, so this is Form 1. This is where you get your club number. So when you submit $125 and Form 1, new clubs will issue a club number. And this is Form 1 for you. Okay, so this is Form 1, where you say no club name. Yeah, in this, if you see, there's no club name. It's just going to say where you're going to charter it, who's signing, giving some contact information. Okay, and what is the type of club that you're looking at, and who is the district or division or area that you're going to align it with. Okay, so this is important data, because they need to know where they want to put this club under. Okay, so this data is important in when you're doing the first process. You can still leave these two here, because if you see here, once the club is chartered, you have up to 60 days to identify sponsor or mentors. Okay.
All right. Yes, I think it's clear. All right, so the next question we also have from Shinyi. It says that if Form 3 is in a Google Form format, can you share an example of declaration or sections for signature part in the physical form, since there's no option for applicant to sign?
We use email ID as the thing. We don't have signature in the Google form. We just have our name, whatever details we need for the application, we have that. But what we do is we say, please give us your email ID. So that's the email ID that will be used for the application as well. So they have to, there's no option to say any email. Like, sometimes we have Google Forms with no option, with an option not to show their email. In this, we will request for email. Yeah, so that's how we use as a proof that we have acknowledgement from the person.
All right, and now we have one last question. They have asked, is there a signature required in Form 4?
Wait, let me see. I thought there was one, but in this, the one which I shared, yes, there is a sign required. But anybody. So basically, I would say keep your club president and definitely we need club president and secretary to sign. They can, any one of them can sign, but there are forms 6B, 2, I think, and where they both have to sign. Okay, so you need 6A. Wait, 6A needs, is this 6A? 6A, yeah. 6A requires both of them to sign. This one, anybody can sign, okay? Form 2 requires both of them to sign. Form 2 requires both of them to sign, okay? So there are few signatures where both of them have to sign, but the rest of it, either the president or the secretary can sign.
All right, thank you so much, distinguished Toastmaster Swarna. With that is the last question that is available in the chat box as well as the Q&A box. If let's say there's anyone else who has any question for our speaker, you guys can ask us now. You can still drop it in the chat box for me to read it out, or you can directly unmute yourself and ask, because we still have time according to the timer. But if there's none left, then I'll hand over the floor back to our Toastmaster of the day, Shiki. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Aditi and Swarna, and also our question master, Toastmaster Aaron.